The Justin Robert Young Show is brought to you, as always, by patreon.com/JuRY. Please go ahead and support the show. Thank you guys to everybody who has done it. I sent out a Patreon. Hey, guys, I finally sent out an email to my patrons to see whether or not you guys want to be a part of the In Your House tour. I'm thinking about doing it in the Northeast, but to be honest with you, I haven't really gotten a ton of responses from people in the Northeast, so we might be widening it back out. So if you are interested in hosting me on an In Your House tour sometime in May now, it's getting a little too close to do it in April, so we're going to do it in May likely, if we can put it together. I mean, if you guys don't want me in your house, it's fine. I can take the hint. But if you're interested in doing it, then go ahead and let me know. Email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put In Your House in the subject line. Otherwise, thank you to everybody who makes this show and my life something that happens. And buy stickers or DIAF. You know that you can buy stickers at stickers or DIAF. But did you know that you could get stickers for free on stickers or DIAF, okay? Here's how you do. Just sign up for the mailing list, bit.ly/stickers or DIAF. Again, bit.ly/stickers or DIAF. If you do that, you're going to put yourself in the running so you can get a free pack of stickers. We're going to give one away every single week. Weekly giveaways for free stickers. All you got to do is head on over to bit.ly/stickers or DIAF to be a part of it. But enough of talking about how we put the show together. What do you say we just do the damn thing?
Ugly, and I said, girl, ugly ain't the half, look at you. Well, you got blue teeth and you only got 2 teeth, but I kinda like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile. And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no supermodel. I said, you ain't a hand model, baby, but that's fine. You're pretty ugly by most people's standards, but you're alright by mine.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to yet another edition of the Justin Robert Young Show. My name is indeed Justin Robert Young. It's JuRY for short. Another fine day together. Before we begin, oh my God, Jesus. What a start. What an amazing start. Professional broadcaster Justin Robert Young here. Before we begin, let's go ahead and start off with a big shout out. One of my best friends of all time, somebody that I've known now for over 2 decades. Yeah, closing in on 2 decades I've known this guy. Anthony Caruso listens to this show and was making fun of some of my verbal tics. So I'm going to try to do a show as free of that particular verbal tic as possible. Although I think I've forgotten it. It's one of those, like, I think it's I think he nailed me for saying, or it's like a lot. So I'm going to try to not do that. Now, I will say that it's easy to criticize somebody doing a one-mic show. That is difficult. It's the reason why I started doing this show, because I knew it was difficult and I wanted to prove to myself that I indeed love my voice enough that I could do a show like this. But that being said, the enemy of betterment is believing that you are already bettered. So I will take the advice in the spirit that it was offered, and I will go forward. But also, fuck you, Anthony. Let's go ahead and get into the stories of the week. The biggest story, and it's one that's near and dear to my heart, is what exploded yesterday. A man on a flight from Chicago to Louisville was forcibly removed in dramatic fashion from a United Airlines flight. Here is, as best as I can break it down, if you have not heard this story, here's the best that I can understand how things happened. All right? So, if you are unaware, United Airlines, their hub is in Chicago. So, if you are flying on United Airlines, you are probably connecting, if you're connecting anywhere, at one of 4 airports that are strategically located throughout the United States: San Francisco, Chicago, Houston, or Newark. These are the big hubs. Chicago's the biggest because it's where United Airlines is located. This flight from Chicago to Louisville is something that I know well, not because I've ever taken it, but because the last time I was doing the In Your House tour, I used Chicago as my hub and flew in to Chicago and then drove to Louisville, to Cincinnati, and then back to Chicago. Now, I only mention that to let everybody know that this is not a long flight, because I believe it was only 3 hours or 4 hours that I drove from Chicago to Louisville, Kentucky. That means this flight has got to be like you are barely getting up into cruising altitude before you're landing. Here is where things went awry for everyone, because there are not a whole lot of winners in this scenario, as we are going to find out by the end of this story. It's not a large plane. They let everybody on. Then they realize, after everybody has boarded, that there are 4 United employees that have to get on the flight, according to United. Which means they have oversold the flight. They got everybody on, but now there's these 4 employees. Now, this is where things have not exactly shaken out in terms of the public eye. Because all we've heard is like oversold, oversold, oversold. And I'm sure that that's the justification that they used to get the people off the flight. However, it is highly likely, at least to me, that the people that are at the gate are like, well, good, we got everybody on this flight, we're super happy. And then all of a sudden, they get word from on high, these 4 MFers in United uniforms got to get to Louisville because they got to run another flight. Now, here's something that I kind of got frustrated watching this blow up yesterday. And this is not a criticism of anybody wanting to drag United on Twitter or wants to, have their big boycotts about it. But I saw this around a lot. Let me know if you guys in the chat, if you guys saw this just out and about. Well, I guess United had more interest in their own customers than the people who paid for these flights. Now, I can understand where that is something that crosses your mind. Why are your priorities bigger than our priorities? We are paying customers. You are the service provider. If it comes down to splitting hairs, where either I get to my destination on time or you are properly staffed, you should always err on the side of the customer because the customer's always right. Now, that's true. And I'm not debating that rationale. But what I feel that some people are kind of missing is that these 4 people that are trying to get from Chicago to Louisville, either to make another connection or to run another flight out of Louisville, they're not going down there to pass around cigars and sample some sweet bourbon, right? These people are going to Louisville to run another flight, meaning that if they don't get there, then other customers are put out. So when you're saying, oh, well, F them for putting their own employees on the flight, what you're really saying is F these customers who are in Louisville waiting for a crew. But let's move on. They let everybody on the flight. All of a sudden, they find out that there are 4 people there. Now, I am, for longtime listeners of this show, you will remember that I am a United flyer. I did not become a frequent flyer of United because I love and appreciate United. I did not look upon them and do a thorough researching of all my available flight options and deem that United indeed flies the friendliest skies, and I would like to ensconce myself in their warm embrace. I did it for the reason why a lot of people do a lot of things when it's frequent flyer or business flight related. They either have the best frequent flyer miles like program, or they fly the cheapest, the most often out of an airport that is near you. These are fixed things. Like I said, 4 cities in which you are likely connecting through: San Francisco, Houston, Chicago, Newark. I live right next to San Francisco. That means that United goes to a lot of places. They go to a lot of places direct. That's why I fly United. But in the years that I've flown them, 2 of which were me flying over 100,000 miles, I have never seen this happen. Plenty of times I've seen people complain about, try to get people to take bumps off flights before they're let on. But I have never seen a situation where everybody is seated and now all of a sudden the question is, hey, somebody's got to take a bump right now. And if nobody signs up for this, then we're going to have to do a random selection. Now, that just might be my memory. Like, I just might not be able to remember it. But I certainly know that if that did happen, it was fairly quick that somebody got off, because they probably raised the money to a certain amount. And apparently the money got to $1,000 plus a hotel room, which I'm sure they might have changed that hotel room for a rental car and somebody could have driven their happy asses down to Louisville. Now, you could also say, hey, why didn't you put your people in a rental car down to Louisville? Well, that's their decision. They obviously made a lot of poor ones. So this is a rare situation. I'm going to go ahead and classify it by my own firsthand research, years of research. This is a rare situation. I am also going to speculate that this is something that is more of an F up on a higher level than it is an F up on the gate level. Gate got that whole thing buttoned up. That plane was ready to roll. Now all of a sudden 4 people got to take, got to get on this flight. And now the gate crew's got to make a decision, and the people that are on board the plane. So initially it was 400, then it became 800. According to United, it became 1,000, although the people on the plane say that it stopped at 800. Nobody takes it. which is another weird thing. Although I guess the issue was that they weren't going to be able to get to Louisville that day. But still, man, $800 and you just get a one-way rental car? Tell you what, it's a pretty sweet deal. Nobody takes it, though, which means that United has to do something that I have certainly never seen, and at the very least seems rare. Again, rare to me that this happens. They run the unlucky lottery on their little computer. Beep, bop, boop. Who gets kicked off? Need 4 seats, need 4 names. They reach into the bizarro sorting hat and start pulling out some names on who is going to get reaccommodated. Now, they select 4 people. I guess 2 people get off. There's one person who refuses to get off. He's a man who says he is a doctor. He cannot get off because he has patients to see in the morning. Now, here is where I do not know what the protocol is for United. But at some point, someone called the cops because this guy wouldn't get up. If I might humbly suggest, as a former 1K member of United's frequent flyer program, if I might suggest a different way to go in the future, this is what I would suggest. You select people out of that computer and you walk up to them, because at this point, that flight's not getting off on time. You get a lot of anxious people on that plane, that like people that don't like flying, people that have a very important date for which they are late for. Got a lot of anxiety on that airplane when there is a late aircraft. That happens 100% of the time. So now all of a sudden, if you walk up to somebody and you loudly say, "Sir, madam, you have been randomly selected by the computer to take this $1,000. Do you accept or decline?" And preface all of this by saying the sooner we get 4 people off here, the sooner that we will get out of here. There will be natural social pressure for people to either get off or to volunteer. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be weird. It's going to force interaction. And at some point, someone's going to break. You don't need to call the cops, but you just give people one final, you now go walk up to them. You already asked them in abstract. Now you walk up to them and you say, "Sir, madam, you've been randomly selected by the computer. Do you accept this $1,000? I guarantee you someone's going to take it. I guarantee you somebody is going to take it. Or at some point, the whole plane, whenever anybody says no, the whole plane's going to go, ugh. Someone's going to get frustrated and say, "Me, I'll take that K." So, didn't happen. They identified their 4. That was going to be the 4. 2 of them get off. This couple won't. The doctor is really the main issue. The main guy. They call the cops. This is Chicago PD, the aviation force. Because now it is illegal, after you have been asked to leave the plane for which you paid for a seat, you are trespassing and the cops need to be called. Now, there was a lot of sentiment going around yesterday about, the idea of like blindly supporting the corporation, or more dramatically, that this is what late stage capitalism does to America. Capitalism makes criminals of us all to the point where we dare not stand up to the almighty dollar, to the corporate interest, and we allow our fellow man to be downtrodden and humiliated. And there's not a lot of that I necessarily subscribe to. But I do think that it was probably not the wisest decision to bring in the cops. You don't need to bring in the cops. Either you have a faulty protocol if you are United, or you have people who have made a mistake. Now table that, because I want to get back to that at the end of all this. They go up to the doctor. Doctor says, I don't want to get up, man. I got to get and see patients tomorrow. They're like, we don't give an F. Now, I'm just filling all this in because I don't know what the hell happened. All I know is the videos that everybody saw. Which is the cops grabbing this dude, yanking him off. His head hits on the armrest or the back of the seat. He's got a bloody mouth. He's got his belly hanging out, and they are dragging this dude like a sack of shit right up the aisle. Now, again, I don't know. Meanwhile, there's like just a Greek chorus of stay-at-home moms. Just, oh, woo, woo, oh my God, woo, why? Sounds like a bird, right? I'm not making fun of this lady. I'm just saying I'm a bird owner. I understand bird calls. Pause. Restart. So we have this horrifying sight. A man bleeding from the mouth. There's blood on the floor. I don't know what happens in between here, but apparently he gets back on the flight. The guy gets back on the flight. He looks disoriented. He looks totally out of it. He's running up and down the aisle. There's yet another video of this man in which he is clutching. He is clutching the curtains in what I assume is between the main cabin and first class. And he is just saying, just please kill me. Please kill me. Or just kill me. Just kill me. Just kill me. I mean, that's intense, dude. That is really, really, really intense. Like, there's no other way to put it other than, like, that is a really, really, really intense thing to have happened. This blows up on the internet, unsurprisingly. United does not exactly have the best track record lately. They had the whole thing where they denied two girls access onto the flight because they did not match the dress code. The gate agent who is enforcing the intra-company dress code for people that have status from so basically if you are flying on employee status, so you've gotten a cheap flight because your friend works there or you do work there, you are held to a different fashion standard, let's say, than everybody else. And apparently leggings is not a part of that. I ain't necessarily here to say that that's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what it is. And again, this isn't necessarily about any of these incidents. This is about the fact that United has a very shitty reputation. And so I think, and I don't know whether or not we had split the podcast at this point, but I was talking about on in terms of politics, that if something's hitting you in a weak spot, it just matters more. So right now, United has a very terrible reputation. They handle things poorly. They don't have good PR. They aren't able to settle stuff. In general, airlines in general don't have a great reputation, except for Virgin. Virgin America did, and when they went out of business. Or they got sold to Alaska. So, what does that say? But United is certainly first among equals in terms of being thought of as a terrible airline who has terrible customer service. So now this happens, and man, the dog pile starts dogpiling pretty quick. One dog after another in a big fat pile. Everybody's United. I'm never flying United again. I'm never going to spend my money with United. I spend over $500 million a year on flights, and I will never fly United again. Number one. For real? For real? For real? People who fly for a living, right? Tell me if that United flight is direct and it's $50 cheaper, right? You're going to sit in that connection? You're going to sit in that connection in Atlanta for an hour at a principal? Because some doctor didn't want to get off the flight? That's the line in the sand? For real? Apologies to Jay-Z by way of the Jalen and Jacoby show. We don't believe you. You need more people. That is not happening. Not happening. Open Bayou in the Twitch chat says United is never the cheapest based on the flights I fly. Sure, because there is no such thing as the cheapest airline for everybody nationwide because airlines have a fixed cost of flying out of certain areas. So for me, United is cheaper. Like I saw a friend of mine that flies a lot, flies for business, lives right next to San Francisco. And he's like, I'm never flying United again. I think that's not true. I think as soon as all this Facebook stuff blows over, Open Bayou, yeah, it's cheaper because SFO is a hub. I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, and in general, whether or not it is cheapest for you, if United was cheaper where you lived, you would fly it. That's just what we do. If it gets you there faster, you will fly it. That's just what we do. When we look at air travel, we look at two things. How much does it cost? How fast do I get there? And if the airline can match those things, there is no limit to the horrors that we will undertake upon ourselves. Case in point, Spirit and Frontier Airlines, where if we're worried about overselling and overbooking, imagine, if you will, an airline in which that happens and you don't get free water, you have to pay for it, and the seats are jammed closer together, and you have to pay for every single bag you take on, including carry-ons. You can't get into that overhead bin unless you cough up some green. There is no limit to the horrors we put ourselves through as long as it's cheap and I get there as fast as possible and put those two in whatever order is most important. So what happens? Well, the United CEO, I believe his name is Oscar Munoz, releases a really crappy statement. Expresses regret, not I'm sorry, expresses regret for the reaccommodation of that man in an internal email. He is even more tone deaf, in many ways highlighting why the actions of their gate personnel was correct. They followed protocol. They were just following orders. He doesn't do two things. One of them would be more important than the other, but I think he should have done both. Number one, you take responsibility for everything. This should have never happened on a United flight. We are working right now not only with our gate agents, the police, and the person in question to make sure that not only are they taken care of, but we ensure that this never happens again. That's my top priority as CEO. That's what you say. Now, hopefully you notice what I threw in there, because there was something intentional. you bring up the fact that United folks didn't bust that dude wide open, okay? That was the Chicago police. If I were him, I would be doing everything possible, absolutely everything possible, to say, man, I'll tell you what, cops are racist, right? Do you notice that guy was Asian? Man, these racist-ass cops running up in here and busting people open. I'll tell you what, I'm about to donate a large sum of money to the Asian Heritage Museum. What kind of Asian? Vietnamese? The Vietnam War. In fact, we are opening new and cheap routes to Da Nang right now. We are going to Ho Chi Minh City on the half hour right from Louisville. That's what we're doing. Not like these racist ass cops always punching people. I mean, what do you think this is? Nam? You can't get away with that kind of stuff no more. Jeez, these cops, can you believe it? That's what I would do, at least. I would in no way take all this on United and make it about, well, I don't know, the gate agents and they refused the $1,000 and blah, 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 blah. The cops busted his face open. You don't want to dump on the cops. You got to rely on the cops. You don't want to dump on the cops. But any way that you can just distance the actions of your crew and the people who busted out open busting that guy open, like, I don't know. That's what I would do. So United gets pooped on. Everybody is taking a moral stand. Meanwhile, I'll tell you what, man, that hot light of fame, it's rough. It's rough because you don't control what happens when it hits you. You don't control that. All you can do is hold on for dear life. So that poor little man who got drug off that flight, his name is David Dow. Let's go ahead and read. This is a Louisville Courier Journal article about Mr. Dow, or Dr. Dow. Dow, who went to medical school in Vietnam in the 1970s before moving to the U.S., has worked as a pulmonologist in Elizabethtown and was arrested in 2003 and eventually convicted of drug-related offenses after an undercover investigation, according to the documents filed by the State Board of Medical Licensure. The licensure board documents allege that he was involved in a fraudulent prescriptions for controlled substances and was sexually involved with a patient who used to work for his practice and assisted police in building a case against him. Dow was convicted on multiple felony counts for obtaining drugs by fraud and deceit in November 2004 and was placed on 5 years of supervised probation in January 2005. Oh, Jesus. Oh, this is autoplay video. Come on, you're killing me. This is him, by the way. This is the video.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! No! Oh my God! No! What are you doing? No, this is wrong. Oh my God! Look at what you did to him.
So there we go. Yeah. There's his belly, his bloody ass face. Let's again go on. Again, so juxtapose this, right? Let's juxtapose this. That dude got beat up by the cops. That dude, at the very least, had to give up his flight. That dude's bloody mug is all over international news. But it doesn't stop there. All of a sudden, everybody goes ahead and gets to Googling. Somebody at the Courier Journal got into that LexisNexis and started typing DAO, return, and finds this. Dow was convicted on multiple felony counts of obtaining drug by fraud and deceit in 2004, was placed on 5 years supervised probation in January 2005, according to the documents. He surrendered his medical license the next month. The Kentucky Board of Medicine licensure permitted Dow to resume practicing medicine in 2015 under certain conditions. That sucks for that dude. That sucks. You know, because now there's going to be this idea of like, oh, okay, well, maybe he's shady. Maybe he's working the system. Maybe he was trying to cause a scene, which I think is unfair. You can't really do that. Who knew? I don't think that 69-year-old former disgraced Dr. David Dow was like, finally, my master plan has come to fruition. A lot of people are saying, well, what does it have to do with anything? Nothing. Except for the fact that when that white hot light of fame hits you, you don't control it. I've said this to y'all repeatedly. At some point, I'm going to get a gig that puts me on a larger platform. It's going to happen. I'm too fucking good. And when that happens, I'm going to either it's going to bubble up by itself, or I'm going to say something bad on that platform, and then everyone's going to come and find, out of context, the worst stuff that I have said here on politics, on Night Attack, on BB Live show, on NSFW show, everything. I am on the record saying things that easily could get me fired if taken out of context. Now, my hope is that there is so much stuff that the context can be impossible to ignore. But that white hot fame, man, that white hot fame, there ain't no winners here. United doesn't win. Dr. Dow doesn't win. I mean, hell, that one lady that I was making fun of saying, oh my God, she doesn't win. I don't think she wants me making fun of her, right? She's got a life. Here's the only people that win. And this is my larger point that I wanted everybody to remember. Everybody on Twitter. Twitter won. Facebook won. Virtue won. Because the only real winners here are me and you. Everybody that went on Twitter and made sure to drag United, that made sure to drag the cops, that made sure to make their points about capitalism and overselling flights and all the hot takes. Oh, yeah, the only thing hotter than that light of fame are the takes that were spewing forth on social media. When ultimately, what happened? Either United screwed up in reassigning too many people to another flight, and that sounds like something that might have gotten screwed up somewhere down the line. It was a chain reaction, something that happens a lot in airline stuff where there's one plane late or some gear gets busted in Tuscaloosa, which means that flight can't get to here, which means that they need another flight, which means that the crew that was supposed to come in on that flight now can't, so they got to reassign that. There's this whole logistics problem. Someone screwed up there. The gate agent screwed up in not getting people off the flight. The cops screwed up in roughing that guy up far more than he ever should. Oh, by the way, the guy who roughed him up is on leave, and the Chicago aviation part of the cops of the Chicago PD, they put that dude on leave. Say that's not how we do things here. Which, by the way, something that United should have done. United should have said, yeah, we talked to the police and they said that this isn't how we do things. But somebody screwed up at their job. That happens constantly. It was colorful here. We got to view it in moving frames. It gets to stick in our mind. Everybody else knows about it. And so now we can react to it, but ultimately, this isn't exactly a final straw. This doesn't reveal a larger truth, unless you want to go with the whole capitalism makes criminals of us all thing. It's a screw up. And now we all get to feel superior because we're not them. We're not that person at the gate that screwed up. We're not that cop who got frustrated and did something awful, right? Now, we might have done stuff. We might have made mistakes. But thank God those weren't on the internet, man. Thank God those weren't here. We're the only winners because we get to bitch. Man, that went a lot longer than I thought it was going to. We're almost at emails now. I guess I should save. We can just go long. Fuck it. So, another thing that really fascinated me was I made some comment to Ashley. Ah, God damn it. We're going to go really long. All right. I became fascinated with the phrase, it's a blank thing you wouldn't understand. Because it's something that has been appropriated on a million different levels. And I wanted to ask Ashley if she remembered where she first heard that phrase. It's a blank thing you wouldn't understand. Because as best as I could remember, the first time I remember hearing about it was, it's a black thing you wouldn't understand. But certainly that's not what I hear about, or like especially in the 90s and it was very popular, or now, that's not how I hear it. You know, when I was a kid, it was a lot of college football stuff. You know, it was always like a Tweety Bird and Taz with like their pants kind of pulled down to the crack of their ass and boxer shorts up above them. And they'd be in whatever the colors of, I mean, where I grew up, it was primarily the University of Miami, Florida State University, and the University of Florida. So the Canes, the Gators, the Seminoles. It's a Canes thing you wouldn't understand. It's a Knowles thing you wouldn't understand. It's a Gator thing you wouldn't understand. Bad Weave in the chat says, it's an understanding thing you wouldn't understand. But I don't know where it came from. And I've tried to do, and I did some research along with the chat room here today to find out kind of like where the, just some examples of it, right? So here's one that you might not normally expect. Here we go. It's an autism thing you wouldn't understand. It's not something you would normally, that you would think. Especially because we don't know where this comes from, right? It's an autism thing. Let's see if we can get another one here. Let me load another. This is some of our citizen research here. Here we go. This is just, if you Google search, you wouldn't understand t-shirts. This is what you get. It's a bridge thing you wouldn't understand. It's a Holly thing. It's a Dixon thing. It's a cheer thing. It's an anime thing. It's a Tammy thing. It's a Southern thing. It's a Terry thing. It's an add name here thing. It's a U2 thing. It's a Donna thing. It's a Josh thing. It's a hockey thing. It's an Aquarius thing. It's a biker thing. It's a Capricorn thing. It's a Luciani thing. You wouldn't understand. It's a Welsh thing. This is obviously something that has been totally and completely appropriated for literally anybody. And if we are to assume the best that I can find is that this is appropriated from, it's a black thing you wouldn't understand. or somebody else was saying that it might have been appropriated, kind of like Yankee Doodle Dandy style, from It's a White Thing you couldn't understand or wouldn't understand. So I'm almost positive that this thing has racial connotations, which of course makes me very interested in it. M-Beam in the chat. It's a beard thing, so JuRY no longer understands. But it's a mustache thing. That I understand right now. So I guess I'll put this out to everybody. Number one, find me your weirdest It's a Blank Thing you wouldn't understand t-shirts or paraphernalia. And then if you have any memories, the earliest memories you have of those t-shirts, email that in to justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Again, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. That, of course, is where you can send your email. We do have email today. Let's go ahead and get to it. Mike says, I'm not entirely sure, but I felt this was the best way to get some sort of informal poll. Twice since Thanksgiving, I've had to pop a pimple on my penis. I'm just curious how often of an issue this is for anyone else. Any girls out there get pimples down there? Like, what the hell? Anyway, love the show. I don't know exactly how many emails this is going to generate, but I would say once every 5 years. Eric says, I support you at the 5-smacker level, and I also support TMS, Night Attack, DTNS at the 5-smacker level because all of those programs got you. Although I admitted I wouldn't kill the DTNS or TMS Patreon if you left those shows, but I'd cry a little. You are why I'm in the Diamond Pants Network. So much of your content is on the Twitch level. I get it, but could you get that RSS up quickly too? Maybe it's not your big money group or a smaller part of the business model, but I like hearing your shows as a podcast as soon as you're done. I'm not even sucking down the JuRY one mic thing. You're getting 5 greenbacks just for being the politics all-star that you are. Please update that politics RSS as soon as possible. Do it for the children. Love you, Jerbs. All right, so here's the thing. At a certain point, I brought on Cheeto to be my master of RSS ceremonies. There has been a lack of communication between me and Cheeto. That's on me. I got to be better about that. I apologize. I know that a lot of these have gone up really late, so I will do better with that. Thank you, Eric, for supporting. We get back to our favorite recurring bit here on the show, and that is Sean is poor. If anybody wants to do a theme song for Sean is poor, then please go ahead and do it. I love, if you are just catching up, Sean is living in the Southern California region. He went into tremendous debt for a degree in food service. He found that he was not suited for the kitchens of food service and now laments his mountain of debt. We've had financial advisors write in to help Sean. Sean has taken up their advice, and we had one person even offer Sean a job if he would move out to Iowa to work at a cupcake place. We had a couple people pile on, say, come on, Sean, don't just be a mope. Get in your car, drive on out to Iowa. This isn't heaven, it's Iowa. Get that job, get yourself out of debt. Sean wrote back, hey, Justin, just listened to last week's episode. Wanted to give you the reasons why I would not move to Idaho right now. Wait, I think it's Iowa. They're in Iowa, not Idaho. Same diff. Number one, my girlfriend's family is here, and I will not leave them no matter what. After a long time of not having friends, I finally have a great social circle here and would not leave them just to have more money. And 3, the weather. Idaho or Iowa has snowed, Justin. I would not do that to myself. Just thought you'd want to hear the reasons. Back to being poor. I just love that that's like, Sean, I hope that there is a happy ending to this. But right now, Sean is just the perfect, like, he's the Eeyore of this podcast, right? Like, he's just like, he's lovable. He's there. We want to help him. But no matter what, he's just like, anyway, back to being poor. I'm Sean. I love you, Sean. We're going to help. We are all in this together. In fact, we are not only all in this together, we have another Sean that is helping. Advice from another Sean. He says, I have the solution for Sean. Build a time machine. Get your parents to buy a house for you that is worth 130% of the estimated cost of the schooling. Have them put the house in your name in a trust. Some magic here. I don't know how to avoid paying taxes on the transfer. Then, instead of taking out student loans, get out a HELOC, I'm just going to say, at a nice low interest rate. Once Sean graduates, he can just pay the lower interest rate loan plus write off the interest in full instead of the $2,500 cap on student loans. Should he fall behind on the payment, declare bankruptcy and the HELOC will be forgiven, unlike student loans. Or sell the house and pay off the HELOC. A series of lower interest rate short-term unsecured loans, 60-month term, may be a good idea. The interest payments on the non-student loans could be 100% written off, and then the $2,500 of the student loan interest could be written off. If you are prudent, a credit card balance transfer with a 0% interest timetable and a minimal transfer fee could work. Or you could keep rolling on a new transfer once the low rate period expires on one, paying the only balance transfer fee. Of course, if you screw up, you could be paying an even higher interest. If I'm not in the financial industry, I'm just a first-year homeowner, and I'm amazed by how student loans are the worst type of loan ever and are treated more harshly than any other loan type. That is a fact. Now, sure, you might say, Sean, that advice involved time travel and your parents helping you out. There are no bad ideas, right? There are only bad people who offer bad ideas. One more time, if you guys would like to get free stickers, you can do so by signing up for the Stickers or DIAF mailing list. It's also where you find out about all the new stickers that go up. It is bit.com or DIAF. You can email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. Again, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. Twitter, Instagram. That is Justin R. Young. Go ahead and Snapchat me. What weird stuff should we have to do? Also, email me weird ideas for the Snapchat because it very much. Give me a fish face. Give me a fish face on Snapchat. Justin R. Young on Snapchat. And again, hashtag join the conversation at diamondclub.reddit.com. Until next time, my name is Justin Robert Young, saying to all of you once and for all, especially if you're flying United, please don't die.
Do you like how your hair gets cut? Do you like when your friends fuck up? Don't you think you have had enough?
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.